live. Tuesday, October 30th, the 1-year anniversary of me actually doing this. And if anybody wants to go back and watch that video from October 30th of 2017, it is still on my YouTube channel, and boy, oh boy, is it dog shit.
How many views did it get?
Like 600 or something like that.
Oh, not bad.
No, not at all. Thanks to the Reddit crazies for jamming up the view content or the.
Was
view
it an
count there.
evergreen or was it a 1-day, 5-hour shelf life?
Slate breakdown.
Oh, all right, not bad at all.
No.
You know what I'm wondering is why StubHub is sending me emails telling me that Tenacious D is playing in Philadelphia.
Because you should go to that.
Look, what the movie, pretty entertaining.
Very.
School of Rock, fantastic. If anyone wants to tell me School of Rock wasn't good, get the hell out of here. But I'm not spending a Saturday night watching Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny.
I don't know. I don't know, man. If I can go to a concert and plug your ears, everybody, foul language coming. If I could sing Fuck Her Gently at the top of my lungs with a crowd of people, I want to do that.
Are you a Tenacious D guy?
I'm not. Well, like not now. I was
but
in college. I was a fan. Not the type. Right. Like I don't have a lot of time to be listening to Tenacious D at this point. I watched them on Hot Ones. They were just on Hot Ones like a week ago.
Yeah, I mean, hey. Well, I don't know. Maybe you've swayed me. You haven't.
You should go. I promise. Got a nice slate today.
8 games on a Tuesday. Definitely.
I know. It feels good.
Surprising.
I'm finally joined by you. This is the first show we're doing for the NBA season.
For basketball. Well, actually, not really, because you and I started talking. We did a basketball show back in like early September and talked about Carmelo Anthony for 55 minutes. Some people weren't super stoked about that.
Yeah. Go back and listen to that one if you'd like, people. I like this, though. He's 8-game Tuesday. I'm so happy that it's not a 3-game Tuesday slate.
The NBA's been doing it right lately. Like, keep it under 12. Keep it above 4 under 12 would be my preferred. We're going to get some 3s and 4s, but let's not forget, it wasn't more than 3 years ago, even 2 years ago, that where they started to phase it into this new scheduling where you'd have basically 2 games on almost every Thursday, and then you'd have at least 1 or 2 slates a week with like 13 plus games. And I don't know, 6 to 9, 6 to 10 is the wheelhouse, maybe 7 to 10.
Yeah.
I like those. So 8 games. Yeah. I love this slate. I did a breakdown last night. You and I have slightly different sleep schedules, but I was up till like, up till a good 2 a.m. getting my research on this one.
I got up at 5:30.
You're nuts. Dude, my fiance got up at 5:30. She's like, yeah, Kate from next door is coming over to work out in the basement. I'm like, all right, you're nuts, but don't wake me up. That is insane that you're like, why? And I know people do it, right? And in a weird way, I envy them. But then in another weird way, it's like, I'd rather work out at midnight. I've always been that way. And the idea of waking up at 5:30 alone is nauseating. Waking up and immediately putting on workout clothes is an idea that I can't possibly fathom.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm waking up to work out. That's never going to happen. Let's be clear
here. Right. There's a difference, yeah.
I do my best work when I don't have food in my stomach. So when I wake up, it's just coffee, and I can grind out doing my updates, put the projections out. I have to make like thumbnails for all the videos. So like I can get that stuff done early. And the problem at night is that, I hit the little vape pen, I end up getting into the snacks, and then I'm just tired and I want to go to sleep.
Fair enough, dude. Look, I'm not hating on the strategy. B Trail says, Lafayette in the morning, what a treat. Listen, man, get used to it, because I'm gonna have to get used to it. And there's a first time for everything. 9 a.m. in the morning streams. Let's make it happen.
Yeah,
baby.
We might have to bump these times for you if you're going to be being
I'm
up
good.
till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Here.
That's true.
Hey, I was here. Look, I don't have much of a problem. I can't go to sleep at a normal hour. It doesn't work. I'll just lay there. And then what's the point of that? May as well maximize the time, right?
Exactly. Housekeeping stuff. Like and subscribe. You guys should just be doing that, because It's really nice and requires very little effort. And it will save you from having to wonder if the show started yet, because you'll just get an alert that it did. NBA Strategy is the promo code, 7-day free trial.
Notifications too.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes they don't let you know, which is messed up unless you hit that bell.
Do that. Use the promo code if you haven't signed up with us yet. NBA Strategy, 7 days free. You get Fantasy Cruncher for 7 days if you'd like it. It's no brainer. It won't cost you a dime, and you still listen to us. Coming up this afternoon, I'm going to do some NBA Fantasy Cruncher videos. Or video, I guess. Walking through the way that I use Fantasy Cruncher each day. And I know people have been looking for that, so get ready. I'll tweet the link out a little bit later, after this show, probably. You ready to talk about this stuff?
Let's do it, man.
First game up, and I'm repping the brand already. Charlotte Hornets, Miami Heat.
There it is. Yeah, Sixers beat him by like a point, right? Yeah, I think we took him by. Clay had a monster game.
Yesterday?
But no.
Well, yeah.
I'm sorry. Kemba against the Sixers. Yeah, Clay had a monster game yesterday too. Talking about a dude that was averaging 5 3-pointers a game, and you knew eventually it was going to happen, and it happened in 26 minutes. Ridiculous.
I'm kind of bummed that they couldn't just let it rip. Just let him go for 35 minutes.
It's funny because Clay, unless you're up by 40 at half, Clay's rotation is that, Clay usually starts the fourth quarter in blowouts, which, kind of helps him. But Clay's usually not the one to do the blowing out. He averaged more, or he had more 3-point attempts than Curry and Durant had combined field goal attempts yesterday. So, yeah, he had 24 3-point attempts. Durant and Curry had 19 field goal attempts combined. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
I feel like they're going to do this now, where they're going to make some agreement and be like, okay, if you get hot early, you're allowed to just say, like, I'm going for it. And then everybody just has to feed you and go crazy. And they're going to,
for sure.
They can keep doing this over and over again.
Yeah, and this is actually, it's funny because the Warriors are a team. The Warriors are not a first half team. And that's not to say that they can't be, because they can be a whatever the hell quarter team they want to be.
Yeah.
But we all know they sit back and relax generally in the first half. And then, like last year, I remember betting the second half or third quarter line for the Warriors, the spread, every single night. Like any night that they were down heading into the second half, just bet the Warriors second half, because they would it was almost impossible to not win that. And now you look at it and they're up by 40 at half, because when Klay Thompson's, literally cannot miss from beyond the arc, that generally works. But the funny thing is with Klay, it's like when it comes to Klay, you pretty much are saying, okay, he hasn't done this in a while. He's really cheap. He should do it soon. Yeah. And if you get him when he does, which I know the chat was saying that you were on Klay yesterday, nice call. Then so was Dan Strafford on the podcast. He went back to him actually. Then you know what? Then there it is. But now I guess we'll have to wait to see how long until it happens again. Like there's no doubt everyone's going to load up on Klay next game, and Klay's not exactly a hot streak guy. It's just he does it, goes off, hibernates again, lets everyone do their thing, and then a month later, breaks out 10 threes in the first quarter.
Like it's not even one of those plays where anybody needs to pat themselves on the back. If you didn't think that Klay Thompson was a good price or was a good play yesterday with a depressed price against the Bulls, like you're not looking at the right stuff. The dude wasn't going to continue to shoot 8% or whatever stupid percentage he was at heading into
13,
the day.
Yeah.
He's already back up to like 32.
Yeah, in one game. And his average 3-pointers per game went from 5 to 9.
Yeah, he didn't change as a player. He just missed a couple shots to start the season. And if his price is going to drop because of that, you just play him. It's not about basketball in those scenarios. It's an optimization problem.
Right. It's funny you said that. Last night, it's real funny you say that, because when I was researching last night, jotting down some names, and I'm thinking to myself, like, the one thing about basketball is when you're looking at these players, and there's guys that are going to be chalk. Either they have a really good matchup, or someone's hurt, or they're playing a fast-paced team. There's a high total, and it makes it very easy to ignore certain players. makes it easy to ignore guys who have the upside and have the ceiling, but have not really done anything to speak of this year. But the odds say that they will soon enough because it hasn't happened yet.
Karl Anthony Towns.
Right. Karl Anthony Towns is one of them. There's the other side of that where you say, like, all right, do I want to keep playing Towns and keep getting 35 from him and hope that, this will be the game? And in tournaments, you kind of have to at times. Like for instance, somebody on this slate that comes to mind for me is like an Eric Gordon.
Yeah.
Eric Gordon is facing Portland. It's not really the toughest matchup. I mean, depending on Terry Stott's rotations, like he'll see some Evan Turner defense. I'm assuming Melo will see Aminu treatment, which is good for Eric Gordon. But like Eric Gordon's production has been dog shit. But then you look at the guy and you see that there's not going to be Harden, or at least we don't expect Harden. There's a very good chance that he attempts like 15 3-pointers tonight.
Yeah.
And is not expensive. Guys like that, I'm not saying they break the 3-point attempts and made 3-point record in 3 quarters, but I am saying that guys like Eric Gordon are the type of players that can go off for 40 real points. I know it sounds wild, but without James Harden, it is a legitimate possibility.
Sure.
Especially because it's not like Clint Capella can create his own shot.
No, not so much. Not at all. Yeah, there's no reason Gordon. I mean, I've got Gordon set for 16 field goal attempts today, predominantly threes, I'm sure.
Right, and if he's hot, just like Clay was, there's going to be a lot more than that. And Chris Paul is just going to, bring it up the court and just quick feed it to him and get a quick catch and shoot, spot him up. But the funny thing is, Gordon over the last 2 years, it looks like he got healthier. And Gordon hasn't been afraid to drive to the rack either. Like he kind of just turned into this like catch and shoot guy that would spot up and hang around the perimeter. But then he changed and he started becoming more aggressive and would barrel his way to the basket. So obviously, if Gordon's having a big game, it's because he's jacking up a lot of threes. Yeah. But I like knowing that that's not the only thing he can do. And again, he's just inexpensive. He's inexpensive. He's averaging 10 drives a game almost this year, which is a nice number for someone that, with New Orleans was probably averaging 3.
Yeah, he's really changed himself as a player since he started.
Mm-hmm.
For the better, clearly.
For
sure. Let's do this. Hornets and Heat. Hornets 113 implied total. Miami Heat 109. So Hornets 4-point favorites at home. Heat on the back-to-back, right? Play last night.
Sir. Yeah. Yep. Whiteside blew up, man. Great spot for him.
I opened up the FanDuel app, and FanDuel now lets you sort by like players and fantasy points. And I looked at it, and Whiteside was at like 4.5x. I was like, shit, what time did that game start? And I realized that it was just at the end of the first quarter. I was like, oh my God, what did he do?
Yeah, dude. 16, 24, and 5 blocks. Under 30 minutes, 10 field goal attempts. And they lost by 10 points at home to the Kings.
Yeah, I don't even understand that one. I was very happy to see that he was very low owned because I didn't have a lot of him because I was too busy having 50% Karl Anthony Towns. So
well, that's nice.
Yeah, it helped. I was up yesterday. I'll take it.
Nice. People are afraid to play Whiteside though because they think that Eric Spoelstra like refuses to give him minutes. Like, yeah, he'll play the matchups, but it's not like he's not going to get run. You prefer 35 for 33 or 434 than 29.
Yeah.
And he's not always going to give you 58 in less than 30 minutes. But Whiteside clearly has that ceiling because the damn guy can triple-double with blocks.
He's been a much different player this year. I don't know if it's just happiness or what, but I don't know. People that are millionaires need to be a little bit happier on the basketball court.
Tell me about it. Spoelstra had said that he was a little more confident this year, and that he was going to kind of let him do his thing. He even said he's going to let him attempt some 3-pointers. He's attempted 3. He's 0 for 3. That's not a big surprise. But look, he's still well above a one. He's 1 fantasy point per minute, like 1.3 or so, 1.2. You always get big numbers from him. But in this game, Charlotte's front court rotation's kind of weird. It's like they don't have anybody good, but all of their guys, all of them, most of them, are traditional center types. He played 5 minutes in that game against, or 25 minutes against them last time. I'd have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure that that's the game that he had 3 first half fouls. So that would make a big difference. I think actually in that game, I'm checking right now. I think in that game, actually, Josh, it was on the 20th. He had 3 first half minute fouls. And then let's see if I'm right here. Yes. And so he played 7 minutes in the first quarter, 2 fouls, returned in the second, had played less than a minute, racked up his third foul. Then he played the entire third quarter and half of the fourth quarter. So he played 18 minutes to close out that game. So Whiteside was on pace to clear 30 minutes pretty easily, had he not gotten in early foul trouble.
You like him tonight? 8,200 on FanDuel, 7,400 on DK.
I think his price is fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no issues with it, particularly on DraftKings.
I'm also waiting on the Steven Adams update. I think that matters to me. What we get there with him and Noel both being questionable for this game. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I mean, if Adams is out, Noel becomes the most popular center on the board.
Right, and it's like if anyone, no one in the right mind should expect Noel to come out and put up 20 and 15 like he did last time. Like that game from Noel is his absolute. That's like his ceiling times 2 in most cases.
Yeah, that's not happening again. He's not going.
No.
Like 6-6-1-3, whatever the hell line he had in the first 8 minutes of the game. Probably not going to happen again.
It's insane. He shot 9 for 14. He had 4 steals and a block. He is a good defensive player. Like he's long. He can pick up steals. He did in Philly. He'd have those games where he had 3 steals, 2 blocks, and like 8 rebounds and 10 points. But he's nothing special. He's just cheap. But they're also not playing Phoenix like he did last time either. I just don't. Centers not bad. Like there are some centers that I like, some that I think are underpriced, but it's not super deep like it usually is either. So that's why I think, Whiteside still remains in play. And I think the reason you get the 29 minutes yesterday, so it is a back-to-back. I think I'd put him at 30 minutes today.
Yeah, I have him in for 28 right now.
That's fair.
I'm interested to see what Charlotte does rotation-wise. Willie Hernangomez has been playing less and less, and they've been going to weird lineups with like MKG at the 5. And I don't know how that plays out. If they can play Whiteside off the floor and get to more like Olynyk type lineups, because Olynyk hasn't really been playing the 5. So I actually want to watch this game, and I'll have to do that from a nice illegal stream since I can't watch stupid Hornets games from League Pass, even though Charlotte
isn't that so dumb?
Close to 4 hours away from me.
So what? Do you not have cable?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, because if you had cable, then you would get the Hornets.
Oh yeah, no cable, so. No cable. I haven't had cable for a while.
I mean, I don't blame you, but it's so dumb that they black out the local blackout restrictions. It's so stupid. Like
I might live in the same state, but Charlotte is not local.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm saying they do the same thing in the Philly area. Like, if for certain, you could be pretty far away, and when
this would be like if they blacked out a Steelers game for you.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah,
that's how far away I am from Charlotte.
Right. Yeah, that's dumb, dude. That is dumb.
I don't go to Charlotte because it's really annoying to get to.
Right. So Whiteside in that last game, if you take the second half where he wasn't in foul trouble and he played the entire third quarter, you had Zeller in for the first 8 minutes, and then Willie Hernangomez subbed in for him and then played like a minute into the fourth. And then you had, looks like Marvin Williams or MKG, both of them were out there. So I don't know who was out there at the 5, but it was with Parker, Monk, and Batum. And then Zeller came back out. It looks like only for a short stint. Who did they close with? They closed with Williams, Kid Gilchrist, they close with Batum, Kemba, Marvin, and in no specific order, MKG and Monk. And Whiteside still closed out the last 5 minutes of that game. So it'll be interesting to see if Spoelstra goes straight matchups here or not. But it's tough to gauge anything from that last game because the early foul trouble means that, one, we don't know what the matchup will really look like, and two, Spoelstra may have just fed him second half minutes because he's like, all right, well, he didn't play at all. He only played 9 minutes in the first half. I don't mind running him for the entirety of the third quarter.
God, I'm going to get burned by Whiteside tonight. I feel like it's going to happen. Ugh. Do you like anything on the Heat side? I really don't.
No, and here's Magruder's like above 6K, man. You're going to have a real tough time convincing me that that's optimal.
No, he should be owned 0% on DraftKings.
Right. But he won't be.
No.
He won't be.
That's fine.
James Johnson, I'm assuming he's out, but they still haven't ruled him out yet. Dion Waiters is another one that they keep ruling out game by game. But
they're running out of places to put people.
Right.
They already are playing Wayne Ellington.
Right. Oh, yeah. There's still Justice Winslow, too. And you have to get this man some minutes. You know, he played 19 in his first game and then 24. Another one that Tyler Johnson is still playing between 22 and 25 minutes per game. Dwayne Wade's playing mid-20s per. Like there's no one on this team other than Dragic and Whiteside, and even Whiteside isn't locked into 30 plus. We know that for a fact. Dragic is like the one guy. I guess you could throw Richardson into the mix too, and such. But I have trouble believing that Magruder is locked into 30 plus minutes, even though he's done so in each game.
Yeah, I have no interest in Magruder. This team desperately needs a Jimmy Butler trade. They just have too many bodies. God.
Yeah, and all of them are just like this team is gritty. They're physical, and that's how they try to beat you. And they have a couple decent players. Like Dragic is not a bad player. Whiteside's a good player. Richardson's a fine player. James Johnson's like a gritty dude that you like having on your team, but
everybody's like one step above where they should be.
Right. And they don't have one single player where you're like, okay, he should be an all-star. Maybe Whiteside. I know you could say Dragic was an all-star, but it's just as egregious as
15 other point guards. Just like, I like him, but I mean, he is just a point guard in a sea of point guards.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need a Butler trade. Just trim some of this. You have too many minutes and too many people. Just get rid of some of them. I don't know. I'd really love.
I'll keep playing.
We need to talk about the Charlotte side of this game soon.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll keep playing Kemba if he wants to shoot 30 times a game.
If he stays at 8,300 on DraftKings, you kind of have to. 9K on FanDuel, I love it. But he's not the best play in this game,
according to you. It?
Well, yeah, of course, according to me.
Well, I'm not sure if there's a consensus, and I just missed it.
I don't know. There should be.
I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about Batum or Lamb.
0 for 2 there.
0 for 2.
Miles Bridges.
Yeah.
4K on FanDuel, 3,400 on DK, playing 25 minutes tonight.
Yeah, no, that's nice.
Closed the game against the Sixers. For most recent game.
And that was a very competitive game.
He played big minutes. Nobody was out. He just played. He played from the 5-minute mark in the first quarter all the way to halftime.
Yeah, I want to just make sure that was there any foul trouble in that game?
Might have been.
Well, because if not, then that's really, really enticing.
I think they're just going to play him now.
Well, that's good.
Bridges came in at the 6-minute mark of the first quarter. Batum had no fouls. Zeller had 1. Doesn't matter about Kemba. Jeremy Lamb had none. Marvin Williams had none. They left Bridges in essentially the entire time.
If they're going to start trusting Bridges, well, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Because, quite frankly, you look at this team, right? And James Borrego has some decisions to make because you have Bridges, who is probably going to be pretty good, or at least decent, um, and is not a bad defensive player either. And then you have like Marvin Williams. You know, do you? And I get it. You know, they're not playing the same position, but you have a bunch of these guys that like MKG. I know that he's had some solid games, but Kid Gilchrist has been a big disappointment, and he's never healthy long enough to get any type of consistency anyway.
These two teams are like the exact same team.
They really are, except well, Kemba has star potential, but other than that, yeah, I agree.
Like Batum and Josh Richardson are like super similar in my head, just like wing guys that aren't really great offensively.
Richardson's willing to shoot though. That's the only thing. Like Richardson's firing this year, and Batum hates touching basketballs.
Yeah, MKG and Justice Winslow are like the same person in my head.
Yeah, throw in Stanley Johnson into that mix as well.
Exactly.
All guys that totally disappointed and were, you know, high draft picks. But no, I think the Bridges call is solid, man. 3,400. Like I hate playing wing players that are punts, but if they're going to give you like 25 to 30 minutes, it's not an issue. Get up some shots. Like my question is always, can they rebound? Can they give me some type of peripheral stats? Hopefully we can get that from Bridges. And if so, you know, then you got a good spot. Plus, I really don't worry too much about over-unders anymore because, you know, they're all sky high anyway. Like this is Charlotte and Miami at 222. It's just nothing makes sense anymore.
No, I can't wrap my head around totals anymore.
Yeah, it's tough. Someone said I'll take MKG. Yeah, I don't know. I guess MKG. Wait, hold on. When did I tell you to play Land? Oh, I never did. I get it, Celia. I get it. Okay, you're saying he's a homer. I get it.
Oh, I'm not a Hornets fan.
No, I she just likes busting balls. I did say play Markelle Fultz if that's any consolation, and he was okay. But no, I don't. I think Josh actually has, and I know she's joking. But I think you have like legitimate, valid reasoning on this one.
Yeah, like if he's 4K, especially on FanDuel where the small forward crop is a lot of guesswork. Oh, is Carmelo Anthony going to have a big game? Do I trust someone in the Chetty, Bielitsa, Gallinari area? No, like I'd rather just hope that Bridges plays 25 minutes again, and if he doesn't, throw the position away.
Although Chetty Osman is another one of those guys that I was thinking of where it's like he's let everyone down on 3 consistent days, 4 if you want to include that Atlanta game before.
Not everybody.
And now he's what are you talking about? I'm talking about anyone who played him.
Yeah. 0 Chetty in all of those days.
Would you look at you, man? Look at you.
I'm clairvoyant, man. No, he grades out really poorly in my shit, so I avoided him. You know, I got lucky. I also pounded CJ McCollum and got pounded right back.
Yeah. Chetty's just, I mean, the guy's like, he's not bad. I remember having the unfortunate opportunity of watching his like Euroball stuff. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I know. This was last year. I mean, this guy's actually not bad, but like he's gonna have a lot of really ugly games. There's no like he's gonna have more 20 fantasy point games than 40 fantasy point games, even playing for Cleveland, even when Kevin Love is off the court. But yeah, he's another one of those guys against an Atlanta team playing their second of a back-to-back. Like, do you realize the Cavs are 4.5 point favorites?
I can't even think about it. Without Kevin Love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just in case anybody's curious about how bad the Hawks are, that should tell a nice story for you.
Yeah, dude, the Hawks are real.
I would have said that Cleveland's the worst team in the NBA, and now they're 4.5 point favorites at home today.
Yeah. Do you want to transition to this game?
We can. Yeah, I don't have I don't want to focus a lot on Hornets and Heat. Just like I know that I won't have a lot of these guys outside of Bridges, and Bridges is mostly just a price play for me.
Yeah.
I like Kemba at 9,000. It terrifies me, but I don't know. It's just this isn't the game where I want to get a lot of like fantasy volume in.
I don't blame you. I will be honest. Like, I still don't think Batum is crazy because he's cheap and like in a lot of competitive games he's getting minutes. But he's one guy that probably could lose 4 to 5 to possibly even 6 minutes per game to Miles Bridges, depending on whether or not he keeps playing those many minutes.
Have you
Like,
seen
I
his
could
usage rate this year?
What's it at? Probably like 9%, 10%, 11%.
Yeah, this is the game log. 13, 14, 13, 13, 22, 10, and 11. 10 and 11
Brutal,
being the
dude.
two most recent games.
It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. But he has 10, 10, 10 triple-double upside.
I know.
And like, I'm sure we have some viewers that are like new to DFS and are like, what are you talking about? No, he doesn't. Like, he actually does. And, just as Clay will have a few monster games a year, more than Batum will go out there and have those games where he hits 3-3-pointers, makes like 5 of 7 shots and has 10 rebounds and 9 assists. And, at 5,200, that's not bad, but he is never a top play. He's just someone like, if Batum goes under 5K on DraftKings, I'm just telling you right now, I'm going to be forced to, it grosses me out, but I'm going to be forced to have some of them.
I'd have an overwhelming amount of Batum on DraftKings tonight at 5,200, and I would hate myself for it.
Yeah, right. It's just most projections, even though his usage is so low, are still going to like him because of that price point and the projected minutes that he's getting.
All right, let's talk about this awful Cleveland game.
Please.
Cleveland Cavaliers, Atlanta Hawks.
Go ahead. Sorry.
You're good. 4.5 point line, as we mentioned. 114.75 implied total for the Cavs is the highest of the slate.
I know, it's amazing, right? I was looking at that last night. I could not. So I'm looking at it because I like writing stuff down to visualize it, and I look and I write it down, and then I'm like, wait. Let me go back and let me check this. So wait, this is real. The Cavs last night when I was looking had a 115.3 implied total. It's crazy. But so I noticed something about, after just watching a couple games of the season, there's one thing that becomes very clear about this Atlanta team. If they're not hitting 3-pointers, they're 100% dead. Like Kent Bazemore, 3-pointers or pretty much nothing. Like I understand that Kent Bazemore, will attempt some field goals that aren't from 3-point range, right? I'm not saying he's exclusively a 3-point shooter, but literally around half of his shots are threes. Taurean Prince, you look, 86 field goal attempts, 42 threes. Half of his shots are threes. Now, this isn't to say that that's a bad thing, going forward, but and Trae Young is another one, by the way, who has jacked up, 43 threes on 92. So almost half of his attempts are threes as well. I'm not saying, oh, it's a terrible thing that you're shooting a lot of threes. What I am saying is that this isn't Thompson, Durant, and Curry jacking up threes.
No, it's not.
It's Prince, Bazemore, and Trae Young.
Jesus.
So when they're cold from beyond the arc, as we saw, that game was tied yesterday, 47-47 going into the third quarter. Sixers were up by like 20 after 3 because they can penetrate, they can score in the paint. They can get to, when you have Embiid, who didn't even do anything, and Simmons and even Asar and great outlet passers and guys that can feed it in between the lane, like, and get you those good looks, you're going to be able oftentimes to make up for that. Sixers are a team that when their 3-point shooting is off, they struggle, but you at least have Embiid and you at least have Simmons, right?
Yeah.
The Hawks, when their 3-point shooting is off, they have Alex Len and Dwayne Dedmon. And I think that
you're not a big Vince Carter fan any longer.
Dude, you gotta respect the guy, though, man.
He's still out hammering in warmups.
It's crazy, right? But think about it. Like, they don't, when they're not knocking them down, and Trae Young still, look, he's going to be good, but he's got a lot to learn, and his vision still needs some work. I like the kid, but when this team is not hitting their 3-pointers, they're going to kill you from all angles, and they're going to get beat up really bad on the other end. Long rebounds coming off 3-pointers, transition points the other way, boom, it's over. I just hope that Cleveland can actually do that.
Wait, what did you just say? Sorry, I was reading chat.
I was saying,
I didn't hear that last part.
I was saying a lot. You have 3-point shots that create on average unnecessary, but I'll say on average, longer rebounds.
Yeah.
You have a guard scooping up these rebounds on these horrible brick 3-point attempts. Take it the other way. Defense isn't set, and they just wreck them in transition. Like
Yeah.
it's when their 3-point shots aren't working, they're trash, man. And they're already trash. But
I was gonna say that they're trash just sort of in general, and yet I'll probably have a ton of Hawks tonight.
Hey, I'm not saying not to.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is they're dependent on the 3.
I would say don't play Trae Young on DraftKings at $7,200. He's $100 cheaper on FanDuel.
That says a lot.
Yeah, that's not great pricing. I'd have a hard time getting to Prince over $7K.
Agreed. Even though I love the guy, it's just that he needs to be 63 to 6,500.
Yeah. I mean, Bazemore looks great for a GPP. High totaled game. There's not going to be much defense coming here. And, he could gun. But, like, guys like Dedmon, Bembry, like, that's where I'm looking here.
It's funny you say that. Bembry was the one guy I like have legitimate interest in, and it makes my skin crawl.
Oh, I had like 25% Bembry yesterday. I'm team Bembry. Yeah, he's too cheap. He's just too cheap.
It's cool that he has an apostrophe at the end of his first name.
That's a word you could use to describe it. I wouldn't necessarily call it cool. It's pretty annoying for like making sure people are named correctly in a spreadsheet.
Yeah, I'm joking. What's worse, that or Montrezl Harrell with the L at Montrezl?
It's not, that one doesn't bother me so much because I don't ever have to type it.
See, I think it's kind of cool. Like, it's probably highly unnecessary, but I've never, it's like silent L. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
classic letter combinations.
Besides the point, tell me why you like Bembry. I'm interested. Outside of just is there anything outside of just that he's getting good run on a team that leads the league in pace and is bad defensively? Like, is that it?
I mean, that's for the most part, that's going to be it. But he's been at, let's see, I have him at 0.42 points per possession. Like,
that's actually a good
he's been
number.
Fine. It's of all the small forwards today. Let's see, where does he rank? He's 17th out of 28 in terms of just guys that I have projected over 10 minutes. So, relevant fantasy players. So he's middle of the pack in his production, but lower than the middle. Like, he's easy to fit in, makes for an easy punt. He's going to get the time. He's probably going to play in a blowout if this game goes squirrely. It shouldn't, but I mean, anything can happen here. I just like paying for guys that have opportunity. And, if his usage is going to be near average and he's going to be priced below 5K, that's just the type of guys that I want to take.
Sure. I also don't mind that, a third of his shots are coming at the basket within 3 feet of the rim. I like that. There's nothing I hate more than wings that aren't good 3-point shooters and jack up a bunch of mid-range shots because their floor is just entirely too low to have any faith in. But Bembry, it's nice to see that though. Like, legitimately, a third of his shots are coming from within 3 feet of the basket. 55, almost 60% of his shots are coming from within 10 feet. And then about a third of them are coming from 3-point range. So in terms of shot selection, that's something you like to see.
Yeah.
That he's actually getting up high percentage or at least high efficiency shots. And I like that. I just, I'm not big on catch and shoot guys that are cheap because a lot of times, they burn you unless they shoot like, 6 of 10 from 3-point range. And it sucks relying on that.
You like anything else on that Hawks side?
No, I wish Alex Len was getting consistent run because he's the type of guy that can win you tournaments.
Yeah.
But he's not. And, Dwayne Dedmon's healthy. I expect, in close games, you would assume that they play pretty much split the time, or just or what's his I said his name to you before the damn show, and now I can't even remember it. Lloyd Pierce,
Yeah.
or he just rolls a hot hand, or just splits the minutes down the middle. There's nothing else here. You mentioned Bazemore. I think Bazemore is the guy that I would play over any of them because he hasn't seen his price tag come up yet. And just like Taurean Prince, they're very similar in that they're not big rebound or assist guys. They need to score points. And if that's the case, considering both of them have a lot of volatility and both play 30+ minutes, give me the guy that's, almost $2,000 cheaper.
Yeah, I have no issue with Bazemore here. I probably have him underrepresented in my projections right now, but I need to wait until Fantasy Cruncher didn't. I think they had an error in their updating this morning, so they don't have salaries listed, which
nice
obviously makes it a little difficult to optimize when everyone has a $0 salary. I crunched the first time and it was like CP3 and Embiid and every really good guy. I was like, I feel like I can't get that lineup. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's because nobody has a salary.
Yeah, it could be tough.
So Bazemore would definitely be a guy that I'd be looking at on DK. So Bazemore, Dedmon, Bembry on the DraftKings side. I probably wouldn't have much Bazemore on FanDuel, but that could change. I don't hate the $6,300 price point, but I'd be more likely to have just a lot of Bembry and Dedmon just paying down. $5,500 for Dedmon isn't my favorite spot in the world, but I don't know. It's like middle of the pack. One of the better dollar for dollar values. So there's not much below him that I would prefer. I want to know what the center rotation is going to look like for Cleveland here.
Tristan Thompson, man. I don't know why I don't know why this guy continues to play. I mean, I do.
He was so good.
Yeah, it was.
It's crazy.
He's still not the worst defensive player. Like he's a solid defensive player that used to be able to get you some offensive rebounds and reset the shot clock.
Because he was like the linchpin of Cleveland's defense.
Yeah. Oh, sure, dude. Yeah, that's why he held out and knew that eventually they'd pay him. Now he never shoots.
No.
He basically just plays defense and collects some boards. But
Kardashian curse, man.
Yeah, but you think about it. This matchup is so much better suited for Larry Nance.
It really is.
The problem is Larry Nance is above 6K on DraftKings now. If Larry Nance, like if you told me Larry Nance played 28 to 30, like he's going to play at least 30 minutes here, I would have a lot of interest in him. But like I truly have no idea how many minutes he's going to get. The matchup is perfect. It's a pace up spot. Nance is a hustle player who creates all of his production based on running the court, crashing the boards, on offensive and defensive rebounds, like just doing everything he can to be around the basketball. And I love players like that. I love bigs that aren't that big but play bigger than they are. I was a bigger Kenneth Faried fan than most.
I was a fan as well.
The manimal. But the Hawks lead the league in pace. Like this is a team that leads the league in pace, but is also a team that defends the perimeter pretty well because Bazemore and Prince, are long-armed perimeter guys that can actually defend the perimeter. That's not a surprise to me at all. I think this type of game really suits somebody like Nance. Look at Ben Simmons, who shot 8 for 11 in only 26 minutes yesterday. That a lot of that was because Ben Simmons could take the ball and absolutely have no resistance getting to the rim. 27 minutes, 8 for 11. Oh, Ben Simmons probably didn't attempt a shot from more than like 5 feet out yesterday.
And
almost. Yeah, right. He's been taking a few more jumpers, but literally, you're right. But no, literally, I could pull it up.
I just want to see him shoot like 1 or 2 threes a game. But I feel like if he goes to do that, his shooting form is going to be like John Daly hitting a golf ball.
Oh yeah, dude. There are videos of him warming up in practice taking corner threes and above the break threes, and it's like, oh wow, that's surprisingly nice form. Why
Yeah.
doesn't he do that? I just think he has no confidence in it whatsoever. But yeah, just quickly to finish that
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah. Sorry.
I'm not saying Nance and Simmons are the same player because Nance isn't somebody that's going to, bring the ball up the court and draw and knife to the basket. But what I'm saying is that they just don't have any protection around the rim.
No.
So he would be the guy. He would be the type of guy that I would prefer. Yesterday, by the way, Simmons attempted 11 field goals. Let's see on the advanced box score here. Oh, look at that, dude! He made 3 of them that weren't a that is actually surprising. 3 of them were probably like 9 to 10 feet out.
Yeah. Or they got
Did you
classified
look at
wrong.
that? What's that?
Or someone just like wrote them down wrong in the scorebook.
Yeah, right. I'm looking at it right now. They were all in the paint though. Every single shot was in the paint.
He's taken, let's see, 83% of his shots from either the rim or the short mid-range.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And I hate the stat where people go, last year Ben Simmons attempted 15 three-pointers and missed them all. Wrong. Ben Simmons didn't attempt a single three-pointer unless it was a heave at the end of the half or at the end of the game. That's
or a shot clock bust,
Right. Those are literally the only threes that Ben Simmons took. He didn't take one three that wasn't, every single one of his threes was in one of those situations. And I love that NBA.com actually classifies them as such.
And that's probably a mistake, right? He should absolutely
What?
be shooting an open 3.
Sure. Dude, yesterday the Hawks were daring Markelle Fultz to shoot 3. They were giving him like 8 feet of space, daring him. And then he hit one, and then they started to close in a little bit more on him. But if Ben Simmons one day just walked onto the court and had a 3-point shot, and because have you've seen how much space he's given when he's got the problem is if you give Ben he would be unstoppable, because then how do you play a guy that can get to the rim in through any traffic? How do you defend a guy like that now? Because they say, well, we know he can't hit the 3, so we can play him like this just to prevent him from getting into the lane or to the basket. But what if he can hit the 3? Like, it's just an element that if he shot even 33% from 3, like to start.
If he shot 30, whoa, there's the chair fall. That scared the shit out of me. If he shot 30%, he could just be Draymond Green.
Yeah, well, he's a much more polished offensive player than
from 3. I mean, like Draymond.
Oh, right.
Is a terrible 3-point shooter, but he still will shoot that shot.
Like, can make one of them, right? Exactly.
If he stepped up on a kick out, no one near him, and banged a 3 from the top of the key, people will be like, "Oh shit."
Yes, of course.
It would change a game as it happened if you saw him take the 3 and make it. They'd be like, "Oh, everything that we thought we were going to do today is going to be a problem."
Yep, it would be an absolute wrap. There's no doubt about it.
He should be shooting 3s in every game that's not close.
Yeah, I wish he would.
There's no downside.
I'm glad. No, I'm glad Fultz is doing Fultz. The difference is that Fultz actually had a 3 and then lost it.
Yeah, wherever that went. In the upside down or in the sunken place or some shit.
I know, right? Sunken place. He's shooting around 37% from 3 this year, so not taking a lot of them, but he'll get there. His form looks better. But it's just one of those things where I think it helps Larry Nance more than it helps others, and somebody like Osman is just the fact that everyone's just like, he's despicable in most people's eyes right now because of what he's done to them. And he's another guy that about 37% of his shots come from within 3 feet. 37% come from 3-point range. Those are nice numbers there. That's the way basketball's moving. But against this Hawks team, if you can get to the basket, then you should be able to have a little bit of success. And he can. He doesn't really drive much to the basket at all, but he's one of these guys that at his price now that he's down, I don't think Osman's an awful play here. It would depend mostly on ownership for me. Like if there's no one even considering the guy because of how atrocious he's been lately, then I'm certainly going to have interest in him just because he's cheap, but he's facing an Atlanta team that plays the league's fastest pace, is on the second of a back-to-back, and is a 4.5 point dog against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, I have no problem with Chetty for 5,500 on DK. Everything else on this team, I'm not paying attention to until 6 o'clock. New coach, we have no idea what this rotation. Anybody could start tonight.
Yep.
I mean, Colin Sexton at 4K is another guy where I have no problem looking at him because of his price, and he's not going to be the guy that only plays 6 minutes tonight. But the rotations now under interim coach Larry Drew could be anything. So for me to think like, oh, do I want to play Rodney Hood tonight? I don't know, maybe. Do I want to play Jordan Clarkson tonight? I don't know, maybe.
I mean, Rodney Hood should not be above 5K on DraftKings. That's all I'm saying.
It's probably true.
You would think that he would capitalize on the opportunity with no Kevin Love, and then obviously no LeBron, like no anybody, and he hasn't.
No.
I mean, what a disaster he's been. Let Colin Sexton get some run, like more than 23 minutes a game. I know that his game log on three-pointers looks like this: 0 for 1, 0 for 1, 0 for 1, 0 for 1, 0 for 0, 0 for 1. But he's still, he can still inject some scoring into a lousy offense.
Yeah.
That you would like to be able to find somewhere in the lineup, and that's why I feel like you should give Clarkson a little bit more run now. I mean, Clarkson still has the potential of being a decent basketball player. I'm not saying he's anything special, but Clarkson can score. We know what we're getting from George Hill. Like, why are we even trying with George Hill? The Cleveland Cavaliers have a bottom 8 offensive rating, and I'm pretty sure that if I were to change that to when Kevin Love's off the floor, they rank bottom 2 or dead last.
Yeah. They shouldn't even have George Hill on the roster any longer.
No, man. Of course not.
Buy him out, trade him, do something. But what's the point right now?
You play him 10 minutes, 15 minute game if you want, but there's really zero reason that vets that have no real future in this league should be starting and getting the bulk of minutes at their position on this Cleveland team.
You're getting yelled at in chat. New dude is long-winded, throwing off the flow of the show. I know that new dude is long-winded.
Sorry, Yippelson, Red Plant. I don't know what to tell you, bud. I talk a lot.
Yeah. It's the NBA, man. We got lots to talk about. Now, I wish that we would have had 2 better games to start talking about. But Hornets Heat is not a great DFS game, and Cavs Hawks is it's a game. It's for sure a game.
I agree.
I don't think that you can make any real stance on Cleveland outside of Chetty and Colin Sexton on DK, because there's no, I love Nance tonight, but he could play 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and I like him a lot differently on the second one than I do on the first one. I just don't know what Cleveland's going to do tonight, so I really want to see what their starters are.
I agree.
Do you want to talk Magic and Kings? We're at 55 minutes through 2 games. We're off to a great start.
Yeah, we can speed it up a bit.
We can't slow it down.
I'll talk in three-word sentences. It's gonna be tough.
We'll talk in grunts.
Yeah.
Magic and Kings, 113 implied total for the Magic, 109 for the Kings, so 4-point favorites. We'll start on the Magic side. Vooch, 8,800 on FanDuel, 8,600 on DK. I mean, he should have no problem getting minutes here because Willie Cauley-Stein should get minutes. I don't have a ton of interest in Vooch.
The price is definitely up there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like they're pricing him based off of that one monster game he had.
Yeah. The third most expensive center on FanDuel and the second most expensive center on DK.
Honestly, I can make this one pretty simple from an analysis standpoint for Sir Red Plant. Um, Aaron Gordon is one of my favorite plays here.
As he should be.
Yeah, you're coming off of 3 underwhelming games.
Yeah.
2 of them, even possibly 3, because he saw some Aminu against Portland. 3 of them, none of them were ideal matchups. Like, sure, Boston's smaller, and you think on paper he matches up well, but their defense is just like lock everything down. Milwaukee is not an easy defense. They make it impossible to penetrate. And now he faces a Sacramento team that's playing their second of a back-to-back on the road. He's under 7K on DraftKings, which is outrageous. And Gordon's one of those guys that is another hustle player, but he added the 3-point shot to his game. So if he gets hot from 3 and he also gives you 10 rebounds, and 20 plus points, very possible to do. You're talking about a 2K discount from Vooch against Sacramento. And yeah, the Sacramento's got some bigs that like should be talented in the future, but you're not worried about Bielitsa or Bagley or Giles or even Cauley Stein. Like, this is a good spot for Gordon at 6,800. Real good.
Amazing. I would have a ton of him if I were on DK. I will definitely have some of him on FanDuel. I like a lot of the guys that you can pay down for on Orlando tonight. I think Fournier at 5,600 is certainly worth a peek. If like Buddy Hield is the guy that's opposite him, not exactly a defensive juggernaut, no matter who it is on the opposite side. So I would love some Fournier as a value play. John Isaac at 4,700 on DK, another guy that I'd be happy to have here. There's a lot of value on Orlando tonight, and there should be because they're playing the Kings. They're not.
Did you mention Terrence Ross?
I didn't. He's starting to get his minutes cut into.
Look, I know it's funny. Look at his minutes though. 26-19, 29-19, 29-18. There's a pattern here.
Yeah.
I mean, it likely, and the pattern, you'd be like, oh, it's blowouts. But then only the Boston one wasn't a blowout. But in the close games, Terrence Ross, Milwaukee wasn't close. Boston was, and then Charlotte wasn't. That was a blowout. But in the other close games, he played 26, 29, 29, and then 19 against Boston. But I don't know. I don't know. Does Terrence Ross at 4,100 make sense? Maybe, but he's also one of those guys that I'm not huge on because unless he scores, 15 to 18 real points, he's really not going to give you much of anything at all.
No, it means Terrence Ross. He was like a key part of that stupid Ibaka trade too. And then I still didn't understand it at that point. He was still Terrence Ross.
Yeah, he's always been Terrence Ross, right?
Yeah, I'll never understand it. It's a tough one to
comprehend. Fournier's cheap though. No, I agree with you. I think there's definite value here. Vooch is always playable just because he's really, really offensively talented and can rebound. But it's just, how do I not go to Gordon's one of my favorite plays on the slate at this price. So while these other guys are in play, you mentioned Jonathan Isaac. I think he's fine. But I honestly would probably rather go to a few other guys in that range. We'll talk about them in a couple we already talked about.
Do you still like Aaron Gordon if he's chalk? Currently third in our ownership projections on DraftKings.
Yeah. Honest answer, probably not, because Aaron Gordon has such a propensity to. He's a boomer bust player. Like, he really is. He has 2 games of 47 or higher this year, and the rest are 27 or under. And that's what he does. Like, Aaron Gordon will have real quiet games and kind of let Vooch do his work and Fournier. But if he gets hot early, he's going to command a lot of offensive possessions. So if he's going to be that chalky, like, you're play him in cash, obviously, but no, the fade in tournaments would make a lot of sense given that right now we haven't projected as one of the highest guys on the slate.
Yeah, we're projecting really 35% for him on FanDuel. There's no chance that I'm near that number.
What's he priced on FanDuel?
77.
It's still pretty fair, yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather have guys priced, $2,000 below him. I'd rather go to Ibaka or something for 5,200. If Gordon's going to be 35% owned and the third most expensive power forward. I like him, but it's just it's not always just how do you think this guy's going to play. I think he's going to play well, but I don't know if there's a gain for me at 35%. I'm guessing if we have him at 35% when it comes to lock, I have him at 20.
Yeah. It's gonna depend on where that goes throughout the show or throughout the day, because in a vacuum, Aaron Gordon's a really good play, and it's really that simple.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. No, especially on DK at 6,800. That's just he's too cheap for. He has a legitimate ceiling.
I think Willie Cauley-Stein's a good play as well. I mean, this is a back-to-back, and he did play 34 minutes yesterday, but it's not like this guy – it's not like he's very old, It's not like he can't handle – it's not like he's got a bunch of miles on him. Cauley-Stein's another boomer bust guy, like 45 or 25, and he's the one player in this front court. Well, I guess Bielitsa too, but Willie Cauley-Stein is the one guy in this front court that I can rely upon most nights to at least get the run, and I really think they're going to need him tonight against Vooch and against Aaron Gordon, particularly against Vooch though, and he's not that expensive, so he is actually one center that I have some interest in. I think his price is very fair in a game that should see its fair share of scoring. Right now, it totals at 222. I have no issue with that. And I wouldn't be surprised to see this game stay close.
Yeah, he is constantly underpriced on DraftKings. I would probably prefer Nurkic to him tonight on DK. Nurkic is $300 cheaper. But, I mean, Willie Cauley-Stein, his minutes are safe. It's a great matchup. Vooch is absolutely atrocious defensively. I have no problem playing Willie Cauley-Stein. He's only projected to be 6% owned on FanDuel. He's 7,100 there. I'll probably be somewhere around there. Really nice game yesterday too.
Yeah, my only issue with Nurkic is that this matchup scares me due to the pace and due to the fact that the Houston can go small.
Yeah.
If they do. And Stotts is just like, yeah, fuck him because I don't like playing this guy. He's coming out, but he has so much upside as well. So we'll get to that when we do. But hopefully that doesn't affect Nurkic because it could be a nice game for him for sure.
There's a guy we need to mention here. He's probably one of the better plays on the slate. He's going to be chalky, particularly on DK. And honestly, I don't know how it ever got to. Yeah, I don't know how it got to this, but $5,500 Buddy Hield is one of the better plays of the entire day.
It's unfortunate, isn't it?
I never saw it coming.
Well, the Kings certainly did. They gave away the farm for him. Like Buddy Hield was their prize acquisition in the DeMarcus Cousins trade. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't. And here we are, 5,500. I've got him projected for the most fantasy points on the Kings. Projecting him at 6.3x, which is really, really, really high for anybody. I would guess the highest in my entire model.
Yeah, that's high. I like De'Aaron Fox, dude.
Yeah, so do I.
If I mentioned this on the deeper dive yesterday with Adam, I couldn't believe that De'Aaron Fox is operating out of the pick and roll at basically the same clip as Kemba Walker.
Really?
And the reason, the reason that matters is because if you're a ball handler, a point guard, and you're operating out of the pick and roll with a ball in your hands, you're just increasing your opportunity so much more to produce on possession after possession. De'Aaron Fox, like if you sort it by possessions per game, he's third in the entire league in pick and roll usage, 61%, and that's That's pretty appealing to me, man. When I have a young point guard that is confident in the pick and roll and is being trusted by his by Dave Yeager, uh, that to me is something I really like to see.
I'm a big fan of Fox. I oddly like the Kings, but they're so poorly run.
Oh, dude, it's pathetic. It really is. It's trash, but what are you gonna do, man? Sometimes you got Fox is a guy that's gonna. I think he could be like a better version of Ty Lawson in his prime
That's a
for
weird
fantasy
comparison.
for fantasy.
Oh, okay, I see
Yeah,
what you're saying.
yeah.
Ty Lawson, so
Well,
fast.
they're also both real speedy guys. They were both like speedy guys that would knife through and do their thing, but struggled in so many different spots. I think Fox will be good, but you mentioned Healed. I'll throw Fox out there. And by the way, Fox obviously significantly bigger than Ty Lawson was, but he plays kind of smaller with the ball in his hands, which is a good thing. Um, Fox and Buddy Healed and Willie Cauley-Stein. Uh, Even Bielitsa is interesting. Like this whole game's interesting, man. I like this whole game
Yeah, so do
a
I.
lot.
The Kings side is essentially unowned on FanDuel. Healed at 10% is the highest. No ownership to
Wow.
Bielitsa, no ownership to Bagley. Those are two guys
What
that I'll
about
have a little bit
Fox?
of. Fox is at 4% on FanDuel. He's 7,800, so I don't have a huge issue with that.
Yeah,
It's
no,
hard to have a ton of volume at that number.
it's a bit rich for my blood,
He's
but
not going to have it's hard for him to have a big scoring output with the lack of a
69 on
shot.
DraftKings not that bad though.
No, not
At
at all. Like you can pay $1,200 less for Dragic on FanDuel than Fox. I mean, Kyrie is cheaper than him. Trae Young is cheaper than him. I couldn't go to 7,800.
No, I also think that Fox will probably see a little bit of regression in assists. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I could see that being the case. So we'll see. But according to the numbers right now, his potential assists are at 12.7. He's kind of on pace. What, 7 assists per game on almost 13 potential assists? Not bad. Yeah, maybe he keeps the pace up. I
Gotta,
just like him better than guys like Buddy Hield because Fox can score 11 points and not kill you. If Buddy Hield scores 11 points and has a bad shooting night, you're done.
yeah, because there aren't going to be any additional stats.
No, maybe a couple turnovers.
Yeah, not positive stats.
No.
Got to get this win. In the chat says, can we get an intermission? Which I think is a really good joke.
It is. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I got to be out by 11. So
Okay, well then we're gonna start hustling because we've got 5 games left in 36 minutes.
We'll make it.
We're not gonna have a lot to talk about here. Boston and Detroit, 108.5 implied total for Boston, 100 for the Pistons. Pistons very clearly the lowest implied total. Outside of Kyrie Irving just being underpriced at 7,500/7,000, everybody else is just sort of fine, and Boston should not be a place where you're looking for value unless there are multiple injuries. So outside of Kyrie, I don't really have any interest in the Boston side. What about you?
No, I think you nailed it. The only guy that I have interest in is Kyrie Irving. And it's solely due to like the Klay Thompson idea, the Eric Gordon idea,
Yep.
that a guy this cheap coming off a game against Detroit where he shot 5 times, they blew the doors off of him. Not many people. I don't think. What's his projected ownership?
25% on FanDuel, which is terrifying.
Damn.
And same on DK.
Kyrie Irving being cheap is not enough anymore. Like he has to be cheap and overlooked, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd have no problem playing him in cash. Reggie Jackson is terrible defensively. Ish Smith terrible defensively. So neither of those guys might be on him, but if he's going to be 20-something% owned to cash or GPP, there's probably better options out there just because of ownership.
Well, that's exactly it. Like to explain the thought process quickly, of course. Point guard's always so deep that like you don't need to play Kyrie Irving just because he's cheap or 7K if he's going to be popular. You play Kyrie Irving when he's not going to be popular because he has a pretty low floor on this team, and obviously doesn't seem to be back to 100% full health yet, or hasn't shown it at least yet. But the position's deep enough where if it's like everyone's saying Kyrie Irving is too cheap today, then you're not really getting what you're looking for. And I'd much rather play Kyrie Irving. I think he'll come in under that, though. I have a feeling people just don't want to play this guy at a deep position. I still think he's below that. But that's all I have for Boston.
Yeah, same. And I mean, I don't have a terribly large amount to talk about for the Pistons side either. Drummond 9,100 on FanDuel, 8,500 on DK. I will have some Drummond. He's at 6% ownership on FanDuel. That's fine by me. But Blake is the guy that I want. 8,700 on FanDuel, 8,200 on DK. Just that's if I'm going to anybody in this game, and I don't really want to go there with any sort of volume. Blake at 20% ownership on FanDuel. Just so happens that there aren't any other power forwards that are relevant tonight. Like, I mean, I like Aaron Gordon, but he's $1,000 cheaper. That's the closest. I don't want $900 cheaper Tobias Harris. Oddly enough, Tobias Harris, Blake Griffin.
Boston just does such a good job of limiting like high field goal percentages to their opponents, and they just defend well everywhere.
They're defending
which is
9% better than average in limiting fantasy points.
There you go.
I believe I believe they're first.
That's why when I look at this Boston team, I hate opponent field goal percentage is the third lowest in the league. Opponent 3-point percentage is the lowest in the league. All of that is pretty rough. That's why I always prefer somebody like Drummond to Griffin in this spot personally, because Boston has a small front court.
Yeah.
And they are giving up the fourth most rebounds per game, which is, something nice. They're also only allowing they're allowing the second most or third most defensive rebounds. So I feel like Drummond is in a spot where he should be able to capitalize against this small front court, and they're not going to pull Drummond off the court for matchup purposes to get John Lore or Zaza Pachulia in there.
No, not at all. Pistons have not been shooting a ton of free throws. They're 21st in free throw rate. Boston, first defensive free throw rate. They just don't put other teams on the line at all. And it's really hard to accumulate points when you don't ever shoot free throws. Yeah, they are. He's fantastic. So I really don't have a ton of interest in anything in this game. If Drummond I do, it's solely because of ownership. Like Reggie Jackson for 5,200 on DK, if his ownership is low, I like the idea of that because he has no aversion to shooting the basketball. But I'm not excited about going against Boston ever.
No, I hate it actually, and I'll prefer to avoid them anytime I can, which is why center is the one position, if it's a big center that can rebound well and impose his will in the paint like Drummond can, I'm interested. But that's it. That's all I have for this game.
Same. Move on to Raptors and Sixers. I'm sure you'll have a lot here, being a Sixers homer and all. Raptors 114.25 implied total. Sixers 107.75. Kawhi, by all accounts, should be playing today. 9,800 on FanDuel, 9,500 on DK. I'm going to have him on FanDuel. 9,500 on DraftKings is pretty pricey.
It is. It really. I feel like this is an explosion game for Kawhi Leonard. I just don't know if I want to play him at almost 10K. That's kind of the thing, but I feel like this would just be one of those really big games for him. Like the Sixers are good at rim protection, but it's generally when you have players posting up against them. Leonard does everything well.
Yeah,
and those type of guys that like Pachulia, Giannis just crushed them. Yeah. Players like that just impose their will and are versatile can beat them up. I really do see Leonard having a big game here. From a point per dollar standpoint, I don't know if it makes sense. But this game is tough for me. The Sixers are on a back-to-back. So is Toronto, but Kawhi is rested.
Yeah.
on the Sixers side, I have a lot of respect for Toronto's defense, so it's
Same.
tough for me to fall in love with any of these guys.
Yeah, we have no one on FanDuel on the Sixers side owned above 10%. I will have, if I get to any Embiid, if I get to any Simmons, I don't mind. I'm not going to try to pull them out. But this does not feel like the spot. I will point out JJ Redick is 4,900 on FanDuel, 5,400 on DK. If you're going to be playing Redick, take a peek on FanDuel. Don't pay too much attention to the fact that he's not starting. He's still playing 30 minutes, especially
Also,
in a game like this where, it's a big game.
yeah, agreed. And Brett Brown will give most of Fultz's second half minutes to Redick in a close game if it is close.
Right. Redick's not going
Joel,
anywhere in the second half of a basketball game if it's close against a good team. Just not
exactly.
happening.
They need him. He's their best shooter.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid, regardless of matchup, should never be below 10K. He shouldn't. So he got rest yesterday, played below 30 minutes in a blowout. They did have to travel, but it's not very far.
No.
And it's on the East Coast. So to me, you could look at matchup and not like it, and that's entirely understandable. But just from a pure game theory standpoint, Joel Embiid makes a ton of sense at 9,700 on DraftKings. He played one other back-to-back this year, and he played 39 minutes in the first game overtime, and then 36 minutes the next night in a game that developed into a blowout, and he still saw 36 minutes. So I'm not in the slightest bit concerned about his minutes if this game's competitive. And for a guy that has posted 50-plus fantasy points in all but 2 games and has a 70 and a 64 and a 60 mixed in there, at 9,700, you'd be crazy not to consider him regardless of matchup because of his versatility.
Yeah, he's 10-8 on FanDuel. I have no problem if I get him. I don't want a ton of him just because Toronto is good, but no aversion to it whatsoever, nor should there be. I'm not worried about the back-to-back at all. I'm same page as you.
Yeah, people need to stop using that as a reason not to play him. If you have a legitimate reason, that's fine.
Yeah, it's not 2 years ago.
Right. Like, I'll give you a good reason. Toronto's allowing the lowest efficiency or is holding opposing centers to the lowest offensive efficiency this year. That would be a reason not to play them.
Yeah.
They're allowing fewest points to centers. I'm not a big defense versus position guy, but for Toronto, it makes sense because you know who's generally going to stick who. Yeah, there are reasons not to like this matchup. But Joel Embiid also isn't your typical center, and he's also capable of doing a lot of things that others can't. And once again, I'll just finish with this. He should never be below $10,000. That's it. He's playing 36 minutes a game. He should not be below 10K.
Completely agree. How has Lowry been against Philly? Does he ever try to roast them or anything?
It's tough.
I figure you would know this.
Yeah, it's always tough because DeRozan's had some big games against them recently. And the Sixers had just been so bad for so long that, like, we don't have a great sample. We don't have a great sample where the Sixers team was actually good and Embiid and Simmons were both healthy. I'd say he's been okay. I can look it up. Let's see. Last year,
I didn't know if he ever really just enjoyed going at Philly or not.
Yeah, he's from the area.
Right.
But, I'm pretty sure Kyle Lowry's a Philly guy, Philly native. Could be wrong. Doesn't matter.
I would imagine. I don't get the sense that he came from far away to go to Nova, but you never know. Great school.
Yeah.
Oh God.
God,
lots of memories at Villanova.
What's Kyle Lowry priced at now?
He is 9,000 on FanDuel, 8,000 on DK. I like him on DK. I don't particularly want $9,000 Kyle Lowry here.
Born in Philly. This one's in Toronto though, so what's it matter?
No, just Philly in general.
Yeah. Kyle Lowry at 8K is probably pretty fine though. That's pretty cheap. He's just been very, very, very consistent.
I want a bunch of Ibaka here.
What's that?
I want a bunch of Ibaka.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Ibaka. No problem at all with that. And I think the Sixers have been blocked against one of the highest rates this year. Let's see. Yeah, the 6 most blocks against, so
Hmm.
that was in Ibaka's favor too.
Yeah, give me some Ibaka. Give me some Danny Green. Give me an overwhelming amount of Siakam. I kind of hope OG doesn't play. So I want to keep
that
an
would
eye on
help.
that.
Ibaka's is definitely cheap here, and
Dude, Siakam's 3,900 on DraftKings.
for sure.
And he
Yeah,
had 40 fantasy points last night.
I know, it's insane. I mean, Leonard was out, but yeah, still. Ibaka, like, this is the matchup where you tell Ibaka, like, "Okay, you just go out there and play the best defense you possibly can." And, he's done a really good job of that already this season at the 5. Like, he's been stupendous. So, um, this is one where unless he gets in foul trouble, you could see Ibaka, like, potentially going over 30 minutes with Embiid out there.
Yeah. Any interest in Jonas because of Embiid, or do you think he just gets played off the floor?
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't know. For matchup purposes, I don't know if, what do you mean because of Embiid?
Because he's a big body that can deal with anything inside, like in the paint. You want Jonas to guard Embiid. Now, if Embiid decides I'm just going to take him out
I
to
think
the 3-point
Ibaka's a
line,
more agile defender, and that probably works better against somebody like Embiid because Embiid will just post you up on the block back to the basket, and if you're like one of these immobile guys that's 7 foot plus, he's just gonna beat the hell out of you. So I think Ibaka for Nick Nurse matches up better defensively than Joval does.
I'm going to have to take a look and see how many possessions people usually guard Embiid in these Raptors games. I want to see who normally gets him. I have no idea.
He missed a couple against them last year. It also depends if they double him. Lloyd Pierce decided to double him yesterday.
Yeah.
And all that meant was that they had more open threes and Ben Simmons had clear access to the basket. But yeah, I don't think they double Embiid here. They have enough defense. Ibaka's good enough where I don't think they need to.
And the Raptors are smart. They'll be sending people from weird angles and stuff, showing doubles and backing back out of it. This is a very different team. So
this defense, I think, is going to be awesome this year.
Yeah, so do I. I'm really excited to watch this game tonight. Should be good basketball.
People discount Danny Green's defense on the perimeter, dude, and he's
so
sick.
good.
Like
replacing Danny Green or replacing DeMar DeRozan with Danny Green is a very, very different team defensively.
And getting Kawhi. Like you have Kawhi defending your best opposing player, generally speaking, and you have Danny Green defending your best spot up shooter. He can play a bit of on-ball D, but not his forte. And then you have Ibaka keeping things clean in the paint.
Yeah.
Like, that's scary.
Real scary. I love the Raptors, just as a basketball team.
Oh, yeah, dude. Trading for Lowry, getting Lowry there was smart. And it's no surprise the Spurs have the worst defensive rating in the league this year.
Yeah, no, not at all. 3 more games, 20 minutes. You think we got this?
And we got it, dude. I mean, if we have to go a couple late, it's fine. I just,
Rockets and Blazers. Rockets 113.75 implied total. Blazers 110.75. So 3-point favorites for Houston. Riggs, I'll be down in a little bit, buddy. Sorry, the dog's just not happy. He doesn't want to talk about the Rockets. He's really not a big Carmelo Anthony fan. Chris Paul, 9,600 FanDuel, 9,300 on DK. Going to be quite popular here. As he should be.
He should. He had a bad game last time, but
he did. I avoided that landmine. I don't think I'll avoid it tonight.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same. I didn't have any Chris Paul that day either. Just felt like you knew he could give you that 30-point game, fantasy point game. Lillard really disappointed yesterday, but that's okay because you're not really playing Lillard on yesterday's slate. There was no real way to fit him.
No, I didn't have any.
No, me neither. To be in the morning, I had talked about him. I was writing a little bit about him because I thought, without Giannis and Davis news, it was playable. But then once that break, there was just zero reason to consider him. And Chris Paul defense is still solid. So no, I don't have much interest there. Eric Gordon, though, I think we mentioned it earlier. Eric Gordon, to me, if you're gonna shoot, and he is, like even with Harden active, he was shooting a lot. Coming off the bench probably benefits him from a usage standpoint, but I still think he could get up a potential 18, 20 shots in this game. And um, Eric Gordon is just one of those guys that could go overlooked.
You think?
Uh,
I think it's just so natural for everybody to go to Houston if Harden's out.
Yeah, it could be, but I mean, Melo, there's, I don't know. I guess so, but it is natural to go to Chris Paul for sure. I don't know, Eric Gordon just doesn't really have that consistency. I'm somebody that likes to play Eric Gordon when he's been struggling, and he hasn't been great. So that's the only reason why. I thought that would probably decrease his ownership a bit, but we'll see. I don't think this game will be as high scoring as some people think, though.
I mean, the Blazers are sneaky decent on defense, but they have not been sneaky decent on defense this season. 6% higher than average in fantasy points allowed per possession. That's surprising. Yeah, I mean they were really solid last year. So for the Houston side, and for those that care, Fantasy Cruncher has their salaries loaded up, so you can do some crunches and stuff now. Houston super chalky on FanDuel. Paul, Capella, Melo, Gordon, Gerald Green, all double-digit expected ownership.
What's Gordon projected at?
20% on FanDuel. He's 6,400. I assume he'll probably be somewhere in that same area on DK.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Because, James, well, with Ennis being out, who was logging mid-20s in minutes, like Gerald Green's going to get some run here, as he did. That was a blowout, too. Like, Green might have played more minutes in that game. Melo is 5,300, and that has actually looked okay. So I understand it. I understand it for sure.
See if this crunch is done. Nope. Super slow and stuck at 75, so that's fantastic. I want to see how I don't think I'm getting much Gordon. I'm getting a lot of Chris Paul, which I would expect.
Turn random up to like 20%.
I'm going to have very little Eric Gordon under the field for sure at 6,400.
That's why I'm surprised that he's that his projected ownership is there, because he's not really optimal here. Like, he's not really that optimal. So I thought he'd come in lower, which made me more interested. But hearing 20+% on him is like, oh, all right, never mind. I just felt like it wasn't optimal in terms of like your average person just building a lineup, and your projections are saying the same.
Yeah. What would you do with MCW at 3,600? Just avoid him completely, I assume.
Yeah, my thoughts on Carter Williams. Like, unless he's bringing the ball up the court, he's pretty useless. Like last game, I know what he have 20 fantasy points, 3 for 8 shooting. He can't shoot threes, which you need to do if you're not handling the ball on this Houston team. Like, you absolutely need to shoot threes, unless you're an elite defensive player. And even guys like PJ Tucker can get some 3-point shots up from time to time. Carter Williams he doesn't even fit. So unless he was like the primary backup to Chris Paul, playing 25 minutes a game, all of which were ball handling duties, or at least the majority, I just can't do it. Give me a Chucker and Gerald Green instead.
Do you want any CJ McCollum here? 6,400?
Yeah, I just think that this is one of those spots where you get Chris Paul guarding Lillard, and then McCollum could see some openings here, which I like. Yeah. He's gonna see like some Melo D, or he's gonna see some Eric Gordon defense to start, and that to me is highly enticing. So, we've said all year McCollum's too cheap. McCollum's too cheap. Well, McCollum's reasonably priced, but I do think this could be one of those games just based on how it matches up, that he plays big minutes and he could go off here. I actually like him more than Eric Gordon.
Me too, by quite a bit, especially if, well, Gordon at 20% on FanDuel, CJ at 20% on FanDuel. So in that regard, it doesn't matter all that much. They're similarly priced on DK as well, but I would rather have CJ if they have similar ownership.
I would think CJ would be less, but at this point, I don't know, man. It seems like I've been way off on all of them so far.
What do you do with Nurkic here? 7,100 on FanDuel, 6,000 on DK.
Play him in tournaments, fade him in cash. It's that simple for me.
Yeah.
Like, that's really, there isn't a lot of analysis. He's an incredible per minute producer. He can block shots. He can rack up points. He can grab assists on both sides of the glass. It's just his minutes are always in flux. We have no idea what's going to happen from game to game. And for that reason, tournament appeal at 6K is way too high. But I still don't think you need to go there in cash. I don't. Plus Capella's a decent defender.
Nurkic have a high foul rate?
He used to. He had the highest in the league in his first couple seasons with Denver.
Yeah,
he was averaging 8.5 fouls per 36 or something.
Yeah, he was a 4th percentile big man on cleaning the glass his rookie year. Last year he was middle of the pack. He's been good this year, but no reason to think that it changed super dramatically. Just trying to think, if he gets in any trouble. Zach Collins probably fits this game pretty well.
Out per 30. His first 2 seasons, he averaged a foul out per 36.
Yeah,
but doing a lot better this year. And
makes me like if Zach Collins is unowned, 4,400 on FanDuel, 4,000 on DraftKings. Just in case Nurkic gets in any trouble, I think Collins could see some extra minutes here. Nurkic didn't play a ton of minutes last night either. Anything else in this game?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think McCollum's really interesting too, as we mentioned. And Capella is a little bit pricey for me, so I don't think I can go there at his price tag, at least not on DraftKings.
I don't get the sense we're going to have a ton to talk about on this one, so it should be quick. Grizzlies and Wizards. Grizzlies, 2-point favorites at home against the Wizards today. What in the world?
It's crazy. It's wild, and the Memphis Grizzlies are still a good defense. Mike Conley is still a great pick and roll defender. They still get it done, and they still play at like the 4th slowest pace in the league.
Yeah.
So it sucks. But Bradley Beal's $6,800 on DraftKings.
He's in the Klay Thompson spot.
Yep. So we'll throw that out there.
Yep.
Beal's a guy that is going to shoot at least 15 times per game. At least. Is sub 7K. John Wall gets a lot of Mike Conley. And then we take it from there.
Yeah, I would play an overwhelming amount of Bradley Beal on DraftKings. Kyle Anderson is projected for 45% ownership on FanDuel tonight, and I'll probably be more than that.
Oh, wow. Slow-mo.
He's 3,900.
43 on DraftKings. Yeah, 39 is cheap.
30, like, it's just, he can have a 50-point fantasy game.
Oh, who are you talking about?
Kyle Anderson. When the day is right for him and he's got like 13 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds, 4 steals. Don't get me wrong. I hate him.
You mean on the days where Popovich was sitting Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, and Kawhi Leonard all in the same game?
Yeah, those days. Yeah, none of those guys are playing here.
Yeah, clear.
Isn't that perfect? None of those guys are going to be in the lineup for Memphis tonight.
Yeah, that's actually a very valid point. Load up on him, man.
No, I just like him because if I'm going to drop a salary on FanDuel, I'll happily do that with 3,900 for a guy that has actual upside.
Yeah, sure.
Uh-oh. EMAC is not on team Kyle Anderson, I guess. Wondering what I'm smoking. Everyone should know the answer to that by now.
Right. He's Kyle Anderson He's Kyle Anderson.
For the record, guys, I'm exaggerating his stat line. I don't actually think that he has the capabilities of putting up a triple-double with multiple steals. I'm being sarcastic. However, I do think he's a nice play at $3,900.
Yeah, I look at 3,900. That's fine, and I just really don't even. It's not that I don't feel the need to expand upon it. I'm not sure I could. I don't know if there's anything left to say outside of Jeff Green is out with a broken jaw and Chandler Parsons is out because he's Chandler Parsons. Why does he even play anymore? And it was Dylan Brooks. He's expected to play, so there's that. But yeah, there you have it. I mean,
I don't.
you just better hope Anderson gives you more than 20 minutes, 21 minutes.
Yeah, I've got him in for 23 right now.
All right, so that's a solid like 13 fantasy points.
Yeah, I've got him in for 21.8.
All right, fair enough.
Washington,
I think that's reasonable.
Wizards are in disarray right now. It's a perfect time for Kyle Anderson to capitalize.
Yep.
I don't. The rest of this game is just kind of there. I'm not excited about playing Conley or Gasol. I mean, I guess I'm excited to play Gasol because the Wizards don't really have anybody in their front court. I don't think Gasol's going to be too nervous about going against Jan Mahinmi, or, I mean, if they're playing like Jeff Green at the 5 or something, that's going to be an impossible notion. So you would think Gasol eats here, right?
Yeah, it's not a bad spot. Conley's a little pricey for me.
Yeah.
He's looked good this year, coming off that whole Achilles thing last year, but he's looked good at least. When Marc Gasol is actually assertive, he can be so dominant, but sometimes he's just way too passive and he defers like way too much. But this is a good spot for him. What's he 7? This is a good spot.
Yeah.
As the game stays close, which it should. He has the type of well-rounded upside where he could give you like 20, 9, 4, 3, and 4. So I like Marc Gasol. And center's not that deep today.
No, it is not. Would you rather play Whiteside or Gasol? $100 difference on DK.
In tournaments, right? Because that matters.
Yes, in tournaments.
Definitely Whiteside.
Okay.
In cash, I would go with Gasol because I think you're getting probably you're getting like 30, you're getting like 37 to 40 from him. I feel pretty confident about that.
Do you like anything on the Wizards side outside of Beal's low price?
Let me see.
I guess Otto Porter at 5,300 is probably kind of appealing.
Yeah. Memphis really does have a good defense, though.
They do. They have limited, they're 5% better than average at limiting fantasy points per possession.
That's very nice. You know, I did forget someone, though. Jaren Jackson is still very reasonably priced. He's had some like massive foul trouble. Look at his personal fouls per game: 5, 6, 4, 5. Only 2 in that first game. But I mean, fouls have been a clear issue for Jaren Jackson. Otherwise, I don't see why he shouldn't stay on the court. And you would think that you'd have to correct that sometime. Looking at it, Jaren Jackson had two fouls in the first quarter, and then was gone. And then in the second half, he had 2 right away. In the first minute, he had 2 more fouls.
Yeah.
So that's why he only played that much. And then he had another foul when he returned in at the beginning of the fourth quarter. And that game was a blowout by that point. So I wouldn't look at those minutes and gauge anything from him. I think he plays around 28, 30 minutes again today if he can stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah, I have him in for 29 right now. So we are spot on with that one. And I got 25% of them on my first crunch. We're only projecting 10%. That's exactly where I would want to be on Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, Jaren Jackson's at a nice price, and people see 15 minutes and they bug out too.
And it's a great matchup for him.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what it's
nothing wrong.
Jeff Green on the opposite side. Give me a break. I know that Bradley Beal thinks Jeff Green is like 98% of LeBron James, but let's be serious here.
Yep. By the way, I said Jeff Green earlier. I meant Michael Green, just in case I caught that.
Gotcha. Anything else from Memphis, Washington? We can close this out. One last game.
Let's do it, baby.
Thunder and Clippers, 113.25 implied total for the Thunder, 110.75 for the Clippers. Gonna have to start first and foremost with Russell Westbrook. I have Steven Adams in, by the way, so everything that I'm saying right now is with the caveat that I assume Steven Adams plays. If he doesn't, just play a lot of Nerlens Noel. If he plays, if Noel doesn't play, just play the rest of their big men. It's a really easy decision here. But Russ is 12K on FanDuel. He's 10.5 on DraftKings. I got a lot of him on my first crunch, and I'm not really happy about it. Do you like Russ here?
This is like the one spot I'm having such a tough time with, because I wish Russell Westbrook was 11.5, so then we wouldn't even really need to have much of a conversation.
Yeah.
He's not, though. It's 10.5, and that makes things a bit more difficult on DraftKings. I'm going to have some Russell Westbrook. I think that's for sure.
Same.
But it's really just because it's Russell Westbrook. And that might sound like lazy analysis, but that's it. Russell Westbrook, and he can do incredible things. Patrick Beverley is still a very, very, very good on-ball defender, one of the best. And I actually think that Beverley sees an uptick in minutes from what he's seen. That wouldn't surprise me. Or at least like 27 or so. That's not to say you play Patrick Beverley. I'm just saying that I think they're going to want Beverley on Russell Westbrook. But Westbrook does so much else everywhere else that's why you have to consider him no matter what.
Yeah, I'm not super concerned with Beverley in this spot. I'm just not I should be more concerned with him and Avery Bradley, but I don't think that's going to matter all that much. It's not like they're going to stop Russ from shooting. He's just going to take worse shots, probably.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
He high volume, massive peripherals. But look, Russ against bad matchups, I mean, let's not act like they can't limit his ceiling. Against Boston, he shot 20 times, but he was shot 5 for 20. Phoenix, he only shot 13 times, 8 for 13. Bad matchups, Russ can still get to the line a lot, and he can still give you the points. But I still think in this spot, Russell Westbrook will need to either get to the line a lot or need to produce heavily outside of the point category in order to give you what you need from him.
Speaking of getting to the line a lot, Clippers defense 28th in free throw rate, putting people on the line a ton, fits in quite well there. Clippers been getting to the line a ton offensively. Oklahoma City is dead last, so guys like Gallo and Lou Williams should be kind of interesting if you believe in the fact that they can get some extra free throws.
Yeah, no doubt. I wonder if Oklahoma City's dead last since Westbrook returned. Not that it matters. What, did he only miss 1 game or 2 games?
I thought he missed 3.
Did he? Maybe. I don't know.
He definitely missed 2. I think he missed 2, and then they lost the 3rd game. Was that the Kings?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they look like shit too. They just barely beat Phoenix, or no, actually I think it turned into a blowout and then it closed up towards the end, but they beat him handily.
Yeah.
Gilgeous-Alexander is someone that's starting to see a lot more minutes, but my concern is how much of that that uptick in minutes was because each of their last 2 games have been massive blowouts. Honestly, I don't like this game as much as I thought I would. Gallo's interesting, but I'm never that big on Gallo when he's nearly 7K. Tobias Harris is just one of those guys.
Yeah.
That can he break a slate for you once in a while, but now he's almost This is a this is a game I have a tough time falling in love with, and I even think someone like Montrezl Harrell, I was huge on him against Houston because he just matches up so well against the way that they play. But I'm not sure this is the best type of matchup for Harrell. So yeah, I'm a little less I'm less high on this game than originally was. But I guess the one positive factor is that the Thunder are playing at a top 7 pace this year, which is pretty interesting. And Steven Adams has actually thrived in a pace up environment, which is good to see. I like Adams if he plays. I think I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, I agree. 6,900 on DK too. They don't have anybody that can really deal with him. You're probably going to see some minutes from Boban today just because of the way that Oklahoma City is constructed. They need less like stretchy dudes. So it might not be a great Herald day.
Right, that's where I'm at too.
Yeah.
The game's not really as appealing as you'd think, and I think some of it might be because none of these guys are priced like all that nice outside of Westbrook, unfortunately.
Yeah, the only guy that I'll have any sort of volume on is Lou Williams on FanDuel. He's still only 5,200. He's still going to shoot. And if stats are to be believed, Lou Williams loves getting to the line and Oklahoma City loves putting people there. So I'm going to hope that he's just he's going hard. This seems like a really good spot for him.
Yeah, it does. I'll say one more thing. I keep coming back to Pat Bev. Westbrook's turnover rate is so high.
Yeah.
Like Patrick Beverley could have a 4-steal game where he steals it and he's got a clear path because Westbrook's doing too much. He could also be absolutely terrible. But if there was a spot for Bev to play big minutes and have a good game, I think it would be against an elite like super high shot volume, high usage, ball hog like Westbrook.
Yeah, like you could see Patrick Beverley playing every single minute that Russell Westbrook is on the floor and just being in his pocket the entire time. I don't know if he has that in him any longer.
No, I mean he's getting old and he's dealt with a ton of injuries.
He missed all of last year.
Yep. But again, that's why I'm saying if there were a spot, even if he doesn't have it anymore, we know that he's still their best chance of Gilgeous-Alexander is not their best chance of slowing down Westbrook. I can promise you that.
No, it's not. No, it's a
And
Beverly, Avery, Bradley. Well, I don't know, Mba Mute. You need a bunch of defensive guys out there to just make Russ do a bunch of. Because it's not so much that you stop Russ, you just make him do more of the bad things.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Because you can trick him into doing dumb shit real easily on the floor.
Oh yeah, easily. Someone mentioned Beverly have 3 fouls in the second. I mean, he might, but Westbrook, in terms of drawing fouls, a lot of times it's on the bigs anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't like predicting foul trouble. I like predicting foul trouble as much as I like predicting blowouts because it's not always the on-ball defender that's taking those fouls. And Russell Westbrook is one of those guys that if you've watched like a single game of Russell Westbrook, you know that he's going to play fast and he's going to play a lot in transition. He has the second most transition possessions or of any player in the entire league this year. So all of those things mean that the fouls could come from anywhere on the court and not just the guy that's defending him in the half court.
Any Gallo for you? Last guy I want to touch on. He's $400 cheaper on FanDuel. He's the only guy I want to make sure we talk about.
How much on FanDuel is he?
He's 6,300 on FanDuel, 6,700 on DraftKings.
I'm fine with him there. I think you probably like him a little more than I do.
Okay. Yeah, I like that price point. I mean, he would be if the FanDuel price was correct, his price on DraftKings would be like 5,500, and you'd be like, "Oh my god, I got to have a ton of Gallo at 5,500."
Oh yeah, yeah. Sub 6K Gallo is a lot more appealing to me for sure.
Definitely.
And I don't really have any Lou. I'm worried that Lou Williams. I'm just worried that right now he's back to that role where he's like just kind of getting mid-20s in minutes every game, not going to exceed it. Um, Not really focusing on just jacking up a ton of shots. He worries me a little bit today.
I like it for him. 5,200. He only played 16 minutes in the last game. I think that'll keep people off of him, but it's because they won by 32. He took 13 shots in those 16 minutes. Like, dude's not afraid to gun. He went for 17 and 6 against the Wizards. He put up 28 fantasy points in 16 minutes. He was great.
He can blow up.
Yeah.
He can blow up. The one thing though I noticed, like he's done you look at last season where he had like a lot more ball handling responsibilities. He'd come off the bench like 6 minutes into the game and not come off for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But last year he had a 26.5% assist rate. This year it's under 20%. So, now you're pretty much relying on him for points.
Yeah. Yeah, it is different. He's my guy. I'll have some.
Do it up. Hey, by the way, in the defense of playing Lou Williams, he still has a 29% usage rate this year, which is huge.
Yeah. It just in game 35, 32, 35. Like, dude.
Yeah.
That's
a lot of usage.
He's doing it.
Like you could make an argument that like at a cheaper price, he's your Eric Gordon pivot. The only difference is he's almost guaranteed to play fewer minutes by like 7.
Yeah, he's not going to get a ton of time here unless he's just absolutely cooking.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I think that's it. We got in at an hour and 51 minutes, just shy of Adam and myself yesterday.
Yeah, you guys went
ship my modem DFS.
2 full hours, right?
We
guys went.
We did.
Nice.
So we're coming in just under it today.
Yeah. Well, we played 9 games yesterday.
Yeah.
It's easy to get carried away. I like talking about basketball. That's the problem.
So do I. It's just too much fun. It's like a morning show. It's like Mike and the Mike, or Mike and the Mike. God, I'm such a moron. I need to eat something.
Except like we know how the game works.
Like and subscribe, everybody. Use the code NBA Strategy if you want to sign up. Get a 7-day free trial. We'll have the deep dive article out from Adam in the early afternoon. Then the deeper dive show, Lofty and Adam, coming back at 5 p.m. to take us back through these games. Chris Spags and Fast Eddie Fear from 6 to 7 going live before lock. Lofty, anything else?
That's it, man. That's it.
Alrighty.
I'm on words.
Alrighty. Best of luck, everybody. We will talk to you later.